Hi there, this is Marketing Planning and I'm your teacher, Dr. Wang. And today we are going to learn something quite interesting. The Chapter 7, it's about CI and CIS strategy. I believe most of you guys may not know this concept, but it's quite important to marketing. And it's also more practical rather than general abstract concepts. Okay, so what is CI and CIS? CI is corporate identity, and CIS refers to a system that incorporates this corporate identity. And then the question is, what is corporate identity? Well, it's a corporate image, including all the designs, symbols, and activities that a company tries to deliver to its customers and public. And why we need corporate identity? Why do we need CI and CIS? Well, the basic reason is to show the difference among so many companies. And CI, this concept is relatively new. The first CI is from IBM in the middle of last century. IBM used the classical logo to represent its corporate identity until now. Actually, during that period, 1950s, a lot of American companies began to use CIS, and IBM was the first of them. By the way, do you know the full name of IBM? I guess most of you don't know it. That also can indicate how successful the CI is for IBM. And the full name is for IBM is International Business Machines Corporations. And CI was originally taken as symbolism, which by today's opinion is too narrow. And in 1970s, this concept was introduced to Japan, and Honda and Toyota were companies used them in advance. And until today, these two companies are still the most famous brands of Japan in the world. And as for China, it was relatively late until 1980s. A company called Apollo, I don't know, used this system for the first time, and this company still exists today, and it is a company producing healthcare products. Well, and here is a picture. This picture is about the relationship between CI, corporate identity, and corporate image. These two concepts are closely connected, but kind of different. You can see that corporate identity is something more internal, and it is a core which originated from the mission, value, or even culture. And by these four approaches, like experiences, symbolism, behavior, and communication, they can be more visualized and can be delivered to the specific public. That's a corporate image. And we mentioned that it is quite important for a company to differentiate from others. And corporate identity is a wonderful tool to do that. And so here I list several reasons that's why it is necessary for a company to have its own corporate identity system. Okay, the first one. By using a corporate identity, a company can raise its employees' motivation and morale. And the second, this is a good way to reduce the cost in a lot of ways. By a corporate identity, the cost of marketing activities somehow can be turned to marginal cost rather than fixed cost. And the third one is quite interesting. Using a CI, using corporate identity, can help a company to provide confidence for the public. It is because with corporate identity, a company seems more reliable instead of a small company that will wipe your money and run away. And the fourth one is by the way of corporate identity, a company can show enough respect to its customers. It is the easiest way to let your customer feel that they are important to you, so that you design such good identity for them. And the last one is also important. By using CI, it can make your financial targets more specific and accessible. Also, they all get the point that they are important to the company. Okay, now let's have a look at some famous brands in the world. The first one here is Haier, one of the largest and most successful appliances company. It can be taken as a perfect example of CI design. This logo, two little brothers, are quite famous in China. And you know what? Haier even made a series of cartoons for the logo. I must say it's quite good, and a lot of Chinese like my age, watched this cartoon during their childhood. Well, seriously. And now it's a famous brand from America, Ford, one of the most famous auto companies. And once you see this logo, what will you think of? Here I gave two pictures. Both of them are what Ford wants the public to consider itself as. Like the first one in the left, the first picture in the left. This picture is about new, advanced future. Even by taste today, it still looks like full of a sense of future and technology. But actually, this picture is about famous scandal of Ford. It's called Pinto scandal. And what is Pinto scandal? This scandal happened in 1970s. A car called Pinto, just like the picture showed. Pinto was designed by Ford and with flaw in fuel tank and this car, and it led to several serious accidents and people were died for this. And the truth is, the managers of Ford, they already knew that there was flaw in the fuel tank, but to make money and reduce cost, they decided to conceal this. So this is Ford, this is Pinto scandal. And the second picture in the right side, this is more ambitious. And we all know that America was built on a car, and Ford uses this as its own slogan. They just delivered this to us, to the public, that Ford is one of the important forces to help build America. Well, this is the power of a brand, and of course, a good design of CI. And here I would like you to think about these two questions. Now, the first is, how did Ford successfully manage their reputation from the Pinto scandal? And the second is, what can corporate identity of Ford show to public by the documentary The Man Who Built American? So if you're interested in this, please try to search about this. You may find a lot of materials on the internet. And by the way, this documentary, The Man Who Built American, is a quite good one. And if you have time, you can watch it, and all about American history. Well, now let's move to the topic today. We have talked about CI, corporate identity, and corporate identities system, and even stories related to CI. Now we should know that what is CI strategy? This definition is also manipulated, or we see operational definition. CI strategy is a strategy for companies to take their corporate image based on their mission, value, and culture, everything they want to deliver to the public. And the reason why companies make CI strategies is for differentiation always, and generally CI strategy is not like marketing strategies. It is more stable and with long-term And now we need to know that there are three key elements of a CI system, or CI strategy: the mind identity system, and behavior identity system, and visual identity system. Well, with these three identity systems, we can get a complete CI system. Now, the first element, mind identity. This is about the mission, value, corporate ethics. So this part is the core of the whole CI system. This is quite difficult because this part is always about the fundamental basis of a company's culture, and it is related to abstract philosophy, and it is qualitative in nature. So let's still take Ford as example. Can you figure out what's its mission, value, or culture from its brand logo? It's quite hard, but we can give it a try. Still we can find some details like the logo is blue, right? This color is the most used color for technological companies because blue can bring us the feeling about science or future. Others like Facebook, Twitter, their logos are also blue. And even IBM in the early stage. And to better understand the mind identity, let's see the different parts of this system. Well, this is about culture. We mentioned that mind identity is always originated from mission, value, and culture. So corporate culture is always one of the most important parts of mind identity. So it refers to basic language, social norms, or other practices that can be explicitly written down or implicitly grounded in employees' minds. Culture can be used to communicate the key ideologies, values, and beliefs to guide employees' actions and behaviors. So for example, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Huawei. Well, this company is one of the most successful cell phone company in China, but cell phone is only one of their huge product lines. So this company, well, they emphasize a culture of Aufsprit. This is kind of cruel, but still helps them to work together, even face the sanction from America. And now, mission. We mentioned this so many times, and it is almost the most important thing to do for MI design. So how to state your mission and how to communicate it to the public and to the potential or targeting consumers. Well, it's always a company should care the most. A mission statement refers to a statement that is used to communicate a company's basic and original purpose of an organization. And generally, a mission statement always includes these 5 parts. The first is the role that your company is going to play to contribute to the society or the public, such as what profit and service can you provide, and what opportunity are you going to seek. This is the first part. And the second is your business definition. Well, this part refers to how you define your company. So what kind of company you are going to be. For example, Alibaba, Jack Ma defined it as a platform company, right? And now it changed to a data company. So the definition of a company is quite important because this determines the directions of a future. And the third one is core competencies. So this is obvious. Generally, a company always has competitors with similar products or similar services. Then you must provide why you think you can gain competitive advantage over them in your mission statement to give your employees, your stakeholders, confidence. Now the fourth one is a company or division positioning. There are a lot of industry and divisions, and make a specific and clear positioning can help you with less unnecessary competitors and more allies. And the last one is indications for the future. Well, this part is sometimes confused with corporate vision. In your mission statement, you must clarify what's your plan for the future. This is also a good way to provide your stakeholders confidence and also a good way to give your correct directions for the development. And moreover, there are three common types of mission statement. The first type is motherhood. This type of statement can be found in an annual report. It is often used to please stakeholders, to give their confidence, and to gain their identification or commitment to the company. And that's why it is not for practical use. And the second type, this type is a real thing type. But this is useful and meaningful, and you can take this statement as a real one. It can be used to guide the top management teams to work for the final goals. And this type, of course, is for a higher level within the company. And the last type is a purpose statement. This statement is relatively for the low levels. It is more specific and more realistic and more feasible. And by this mission, you can get details about one company. And here I would like to give you several typical examples about different companies' corporate mission statement. Let's check it out. And the first one here is Singapore Airlines. And did you fly with this company before? And Singapore Airlines, well, it is the world's most awarded airline. And for many years, they have won the best international airline in the world. So let's see their mission statement. Singapore Airlines is engaged in air transportation and related businesses, and it operates worldwide as a flag carrier of the Republic of Singapore, aiming to provide services of the highest quality at reasonable prices for customers and a profit for the company. So in this statement, you can find its division positioning, right, in business definition, and its core competencies, and the contributions they can provide. So it's a typical one, nothing more surprising, quite straight. And now let's check this one, Marriott. One of the most famous hospitality brands in the world, and also my favorite one. I'm Marriott's loyal client. Actually, my wedding was held in Marriott in Indonesia. Okay, that's too far. Let's go back to the topic. And what is their mission statement? We are committed to being the best lodging and food service company and in the world. And well, this part is about their role and contribution. It's quite clear. And by treating employees in ways that create extraordinary customer service and shareholder value. Okay, this is quite interesting, and I'll know more because they mention about employees, which are the most important internal stakeholders of a company. And this can be taken as a statement that both to customers and to their own employees. Okay, next one. Microsoft. Well, I don't think I need to introduce this to you. Everyone should know it. Actually, the software I'm using now is absolutely from Microsoft. The statement of Microsoft is to create a family of devices and services for individuals and businesses that empower people around the globe at home, at work, and on the go for the activities they value most. Well, only one sentence, and it's still about the role they can play and the contributions they can provide. Typical one, and quite clear and respectful. And what underlies this sentence is they also care what their customers value most. So this is quite smart, and of course can close distance between them and their customers. Okay, the last one, Starbucks, almost located everywhere, and the most successful coffee company, Although recently it sells some Teavana with horrible taste, but I still love it. Anyway, its mission statement says to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. Well, quite simple one. And also a little bit abstract. It will take some time to understand what they want to describe. It's quite obvious that they would like to provide something more than coffee, something more related to the spirit or heart. So this is the mission statement of Starbucks. And now we have went through several famous companies' mission statements, and it's hard to say which one is better or which one is not so good. But you always should remember, a mission statement is always for the targeting public. So the language should be in a way that the targeting customers can easily get used to, and get familiar with. Now let's go to the next part. The second key element of a CI system. So it's called behavior identity. This element, behavior identity system, can be used to define how a company interacts with its employees, customers, financial stakeholders, and government in society. So basically, it relates to all the activities with internal and external stakeholders. So this system is an exhibition of a company's ideas in a behavioral way. So it generally includes marketing manners, public relation, corporate social responsibility, and so on. So this part emphasizes that the importance of individuals related to the company, because not only by symbols and designs a company's image can be delivered to the public, but also by everyone's behaviors can this process be carried forward. For example, if we go back to the Marriott mission statement, we can find something related to behavior identity, if you still remember. So Marriott, its mission statement requires its employees to create extraordinary customer service and shareholder value. So this is a good case for showing the behavior identity to the customers. Okay, now the third element, visual identity, the most direct and interesting one. Well, it includes everything we are familiar with in our daily lives. Logos, font, colors, they all belong to this important element. Actually, the visual identity plays a significant role for a company to present its image to internal and external stakeholders. And it's also the most direct and specific way. And normally, we can easily connect the visual identity with the respective company, because a visual identity somehow represents the company, and we often take it as a symbolization of the company. So here I put two logos, and even both of their main bodies are just a letter M. But I believe you can still easily distinguish them. The left one is McDonald's, and the right one is Motorola. See, that's how important for a company to have an impressive logo, or we say a visual identity. Now let's see the functions of a visual identity. The first one, by visual identity, a company can gain more visibility and recognizability from customers. For all profit and non-profit organizations, it is of vital importance that people know that the organization exists and remember its name and core business at the right time. The visual identity can also help a company to be symbolized, and external stakeholders can get its image and reputation more easily. So this is the second function of a visual identity. And third, visual identity can help a company to express its structure, which can bind all the units or departments of this company together. And fourth, we have proposed 3 external functions of visual identity, and this one is for internal. By visual identity, a company can increase employees' identification. Employees will feel more connected with the company through a good design of visual identity. It's quite understandable. Let's say, for example, a uniform. If it is well designed and looks beautiful, then all the employees would like to dress it up and feel themselves as members of this company. But if it is ugly, well, the result is obvious. Okay, now let's go to the next part, corporate colors. This is quite interesting, and you can think about a lot of logos of different brands. Colors are the most recognizable elements of visual identity, and it can always bring customers a strong feeling. Here I list 3 common colors used in the logos. For example, red, like Coca-Cola or KFC, and blue, which can give people a sense of future and high-tech, like IBM, and here white for Apple. So here is the development of Coca-Cola's logo. So it turned from black to red since the 1950s. And Starbucks, at the beginning the color was brown, and since 1987 it became green. And also Shell, a big oil company. And this is the trajectory of how its logo develops until now. The original logo was just a real shell. And this is logo of Beijing Olympic Games in 2008. So this is definitely a color of China, Chinese red, right? So, okay, now I would like to show you a small footage about how those famous logos change from the beginning to now, and another footage about the meaning of logos.
We realised that using the number 10 would make a lot more sense. Coming in at number 10, we've got Mercedes-Benz. It all started in 1902 when they were like, Mercedes, yeah! Then they were like, okay, maybe no words. Okay, maybe one word, Benz. No, wait, I don't like Benz. How about just Mercedes? Yeah, no, that's bad. How about both? Mercedes-Benz, yeah! No, just get rid of them. I hate words. Words are bad. Maybe not, but no, I was right, get rid of it. And finally, this is the logo they've decided on today, but by the time you watch this, who knows, maybe they put one or both words back in. Indecisive Benz. At number 9, here's the latest Pepsi logo, but check out the first one from 1898. It looks like I wrote it. And this bit is supposed to say cola, but I think it looks more like cork. Anyway, things got a bit more recognizable as time went on, and we can see here, and they eventually got their modern logo from the 50s bottle cap. Personally, out of all of them, I think the 50s one is the best, like If You're Born in the Wrong Generation. Moving on to number 8 now, guys, we've got Mozilla Firefox, but their original logo was a bit more of a fire phoenix. Here it is back in 2002, but by the following year it had changed to the familiar fox hugging the earth logo that everyone knows. Except by 2004 they had made the continents slightly brighter, and then in 2009 they made them a bit brighter still, and I think they figured out it was just too bright or something, because in 2013 they made it darker than ever to the point where you can't even see anything. I just hope they didn't pay someone too much to redesign that logo. So what ideas have you got? We're always excited for big logo changes here at Firefox. Slightly brighter. What? Yeah, make it slightly brighter and then slightly less brighter in a few years, trust me. Okay. At number 7 now, guys, we have got Starbucks. And did you know that the woman in the logo is actually a siren? That's sort of a mythical mermaid. If you can't see it, then the original 1971 logo might help. There's her 2 scaly fishtails and partial nudity, which they covered up in 1987 with her own hair. Then they made it green in 1992, and by 2011 the writing was gone altogether. And And if you're wondering what Starbucks has to do with mermaids, then the company was founded in Seattle, which used to be famous for ships and sailors and the sea and apparently half-naked mermaids. At number 6, would you believe me if I told you this was the Apple logo back when the company was founded in 1976? That guy is Sir Isaac Newton, sitting below the famous apple tree. Then they simplified the logo to this, which I'm sure all of you guys recognize. And it stayed the same shape since. All it did was change colors a few times from rainbow and then to black, and finally they settled on monochrome, which is what you guys will recognize today. Interesting bonus fact for you guys, they put the bite into the apple so that you would know it was an apple and not a tomato. And even the word bite was a play on megabytes and gigabytes. I like bonus facts. Do you guys like bonus facts? We should do more bonus facts. At number 5 now, we couldn't mention Pepsi in this video without mentioning Coca-Cola. And I'm still not sure why I say it like that. So this was their first logo back in 1886, and can I just say how boring but also very modern this one looks. That thing was made over 130 years ago, and it kind of looks like the Most Amazing Top 10 logo. Are we going to get sued? Soon after, they adopted the font that we know today. It literally hasn't changed since then, except for 2 years in the 80s where they changed it to Coke. But I think they realised that the name Coke reminds people a bit too much of another addictive product that people just can't get enough of. At number 4, we've got the most painful toy in the world to step on. It's Lego. In 1939, this was what they were using, mainly on the wooden toys they were making, but then in the 50s, they started making plastic toys, and this was their cool new logo to go with it. And I honestly think that logo is so cool, I wish they still had it. I might very seriously get that on a t-shirt. Throughout the 1950s, they started developing the whole white font on a red background thing until in 1973, they started to produce and distribute their own products in the US, and so they released this logo that most of you guys will recognize today. The logo might have changed over the years, but how much pain you feel when you stand on them hasn't. And I know I've mentioned it twice now, but that's how much it hurts, yeah. Alright, up to number 3, and we've got giant camera company Canon. I mean, they're a big company. They don't make cameras for giants, I think. In 1933, camera repairman Goro Yoshida founded the company in Japan, and he named it after the Buddhist goddess for mercy, Kwannon. And this was their first logo for the Kwannon camera, featuring the goddess herself. But by 1935, they had renamed it to Canon, and at first, the logo looked like it had been drawn freehand by a 5-year-old. I'm sorry, Canon, but it's true. Over the years, they balanced out the lettering to what everyone knows today. But on their website, they say that whole process was a painstaking effort. Like, really? Really? Chill out. At number 2 now, we're going to take a look at KFC, and I personally think this is all about a battle between a man and some letters. In 1952, the Colonel was just a tiny little face next to the bold Kentucky Fried Chicken writing. By the way, that's meant to be his tie, apparently. I thought it was his arms and legs at first, but apparently not. Then in 1978, the Colonel was still fighting for space in the logo, and their company's name was still refusing to be shortened until 1991. The Colonel was still tiny then, but at least the letters were his own size by now. By 1997, the battle of the logo space was won by the Colonel. In 2006, we finally get the logo that everyone knows today, with the tiny writing being relegated to the Colonel's shoulder. In reality, the word was shortened to just 3 letters because people associated the word fried with unhealthy eating. But I much prefer the story of a tiny man taking on big writing. Alright guys, we've looked at some of the largest companies in the world, but now we're going to take a look at the biggest internet company on the planet. It is, of course, Google at number 1. Google tested their first logo back in 1997, and it looked pretty, well, flat. When they officially launched the next year, they had this, which looks a lot more recognizable. Then they quickly turned the G blue and added an exclamation mark to make it look like Yahoo. And then by 1999, they had dropped the exclamation logo and launched this version of their logo. They spent the next 17 years since then twiddling with the G's and tweaking the colors a little bit. Until on September the 1st, 2015, they released this. Now this is the current logo for Google at the minute, unless they might have changed it if you're watching this a year year from now. Personally, I hope they change that O because that is just an ugly colour. I didn't even have an opinion on logos before I made this video, and now I'm nitpicking at the colours. What's happening? Alright folks, what do you think of these logos? Out of the ones we've talked about, do you prefer any of the older versions of them? And also, do you want to see a part 2? We can do that for you because trust me, I found so many companies like the ones we've talked about that have changed their logos so much over the years. Until we do that, or until we don't do it, because it's whatever you guys want, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you just want to keep watching more and more Most Amazing Top 10 videos, well, you can do that right now by clicking those 2 floating boxes that I can't see right now, but you guys can. Click on them right now and you can keep watching. In the meantime, thanks as ever for watching Most Amazing Top 10. My name's Danny Berg. You can follow me on Instagram down there, and I hope you guys have a most amazing day.
Adidas, Apple, BMW, Coca-Cola, Toyota. We see these famous brands everywhere, but never consider what their logos mean exactly. But every line, curve, and color has meaning behind it. Most of them were designed to indicate something much more than simple beauty. Curious to know? Watch the 16 famous logos with a hidden meaning you've never noticed. Number 16. Hyundai. Many people think that the logo of the South Korean company Hyundai is simply the first letter of its name. In fact, the letter H symbolizes 2 people, a client and a representative of the company, shaking hands. That's very thoughtful. Number 15. Adidas. The name Adidas is derived from that of its founder, Adolf Dassler. The company's logo has changed over time, but it has always included 3 stripes. The current logo is 3 stripes at an angle which together form a triangle. This symbolizes a mountain, which in turn represents the challenges that all sportsmen have to overcome day after day. Number 14. Apple. Rob Janoff, the designer who came up with the world-famous Apple Company logo, explained his idea in one of his interviews. He bought a bag of apples, placed them in a bowl, and spent time drawing them for a week, trying to break the image down into something simple. Taking a bite out of an apple was part of the experiment. Completely by coincidence, he realized that bite sounded exactly the same as the computer term byte. Isn't this guy top of his field? Number 13. VAIO. The first 2 letters of the VAIO logo symbolize an analog wave. The last 2 are similar to the numbers 1 and 0. That is, symbols of a digital signal. Number 12. Amazon. At first glance, Amazon's logo appears to be nothing special. However, it was designed with the company's philosophy in mind. The orange arrow is similar to a smile because the company wants its customers to be satisfied. The arrow is also stretched between the letters A and Z in a hint that the company sells absolutely every product you can imagine. Number 11. Baskin-Robbins. The pink-colored parts of the BR section make up the number 31, which is how many ice cream flavors Baskin-Robbins used to famously sell. Have you tried them all? Number 10. Toyota. Many people compare the logo of this Japanese car producer to an image of a cowboy wearing a hat. In fact, it represents a stylized image of a needle eye with a thread passing through it. This is a hint at the company's past. They used to produce weaving machines. However, the individual parts of the logo also spell out the letters of the company's name. Number 9. Continental. Continental, a famous car tire producer, has a logo in which the first 2 letters depict a car wheel. Yeah, everything genial is simple. Number 8. Formula 1. If you look carefully at the white space between the letter F and the red stripes, you can see the number 1. The red stripes are also meant to be a graphical representation of the high speed of Formula 1 cars. Number 7. Pinterest. On Pinterest, people collect images they like from across the internet and pin them to their online boards. That's why the image of a pin is hidden in the letter P. Simple and clear. Number 6. Beats. Beats, an audio equipment producer based in the USA, uses a logo in which the letter B looks like headphones on a person's head. Less definitely means more. Number 5. Toblerone. Toblerone, the famous chocolate company based in Bern, Switzerland, has a silhouette of a bear in its logo. That's because Bern is sometimes called a city of bears. You can see a lot of these animal figures throughout the town, in fountains, at the clock tower, and even on buildings. Number 4. BMW. They say that the central part of the logo symbolizes the rotating blades of an airplane, which is linked to the company's early history of aviation technology. In fact, it is simply a part of the Bavarian flag, the area of Germany where the company originated. Number 3. LG. The logo of this South Korean electronics company is a stylized image of a person's face. According to the company, this represents its aspiration to have ordinary human relations with their customers. Number 2. Evernote. We all know that elephants have impressive memories. They can remember both faces and events. That's why Evernote, a note-taking application, uses this animal as part of the logo. The corner of the elephant's ear is folded over in a similar way how people fold the corner of a page to make notes. Number 1. Coca-Cola. In the Coca-Cola logo, in the space between the letters O and L, you can clearly see the Danish flag. It's purely a coincidence. Nevertheless, Coca-Cola has used this as part of its marketing campaigns in the Scandinavian country. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're visiting our channel for the first time, click subscribe to stay with us on Brightside.
Okay, and here I also would like to spend some time on reputation. It is an important concept when talking about marketing, and it is a long-term thing and has a close correlation with image. If you still remember the Pinto scandal we mentioned before, you can think about this. Even though Ford had got things done after that scandal, it is still a harm to its reputation and needs a long time to fix. So that's why it is important to keep a positive reputation. And with this concept, owners or managers of a company should think more about their actions and the consequences. And reputation can be used not only by customers, but also by employees. For example, if a company doesn't treat employees well, then it's harmful to its reputation, and there will be a higher level of turnover, and it will be difficult for the company to recruit. Now there is another strategy I would like you to have a basic knowledge about. It's CS strategy. CS means customer satisfaction, and we can use this to know if our customers are satisfied with the products or services. It can be conducted by this process as shown in the picture on the right side, and the reason that we need CS strategy is that it can help us to measure the consumer's purchasing intention or loyalty. So this is a practical way to help us improve our CI system, like to change the wrong or unpleasing behaviors in our behavior identity system, or to make the logo or brand more attractive, and so on. And at last, I would like to introduce a real case to you guys. And this is about a famous clothing brand in China. It's called Shanshan. So this case is about how Shanshan built up CI system from nothing. So the background of this case. This company, the company Shanshan, was founded in 1980. 40 years ago, much older than us. And in 1989, it was the first time that Shanshan tried to advertise on TV for their products. And in 1993, its annual sales reached more than 250 million yuan, and Shanshan became one of the largest and the most famous clothing brands in China. But also it met with some problems, or we say it moved to the period of stagnation. So the problem is how can they gain new energy for future development, and how to improve their brand to a higher level. Okay, based on these two questions, the marketers of Shanshan conducted a marketing research. They found that almost half of their consumers knew this brand by advertisement, but there was a lack of word-of-mouth marketing. And even people who came from big cities such as Shanghai and Beijing couldn't recognize this brand easily. And people didn't know this brand about its group, logo, or mission. And the worst thing from the result of the research was that less than 5% of the respondents had purchasing desire for Shanshan's products. So the marketers concluded like this: Shanshan was badly in need of corporate identity to gain enough public preference. And in 1994, they introduced a CI plan for the company, and in order to enhance the corporate image and brand awareness. So here is what they did for the CI system. They chose these keywords to reflect their identity, such as environmental protection, green, ecological equilibrium, and to show their social responsibility, and also change their logo design and even name expression. And all these to make sure that they are easier to remember. The important part is to set up a mission, including 4 words: integrity, responsibility, innovation, and dedication. In 1994, Shanshan held a conference for its CI mid-year, which indicated that its CI system was basically found. And by this conference, it reviewed a series of advertisements in different channels with new logo. Also, they gained a higher level of brand awareness by naming mascot activity. Moreover, they tried to set up a BI system by advertising on CCTV, the national television channel in China, and all these activities seemed to be successful. And now let's check the results of this CI plan and execution. Shanshan's intangible asset value increased to 220 million yuan. And its market share went up from 5% to 92% in South China, and from 6% to 23% in North China. And their sales almost doubled from 1994 to 1995. And by this successful operation, Shanshan became a big group, not only focusing on clothing, but also reaching to finance and high-tech. Okay, this is the case of Shanshan, and I hope by this case you can have a better understanding of how and why a company needs a CI system. And now last, it's time for another teamwork. I need you guys to make a mind identity design for a real company and gather information about this company, evaluate and figure out some main problems of this company, and then give conclusion and suggestions for the mind identity design of this company. So please use what you have learned today to do the task. Still, please send me your homework in the form of PowerPoint and list your division or contribution in the PowerPoint for teamwork. And the deadline is 8th, April 8th. And that's it. Good luck. And if you have any questions or problems, please contact with me by WeChat or email. So see you next week.